It has begun, chosen ones. The shift has already unfolded, and if you're listening to this message, you're meant to be among those who notice first. The equinox wasn't simply a date on a calendar. It was a threshold, a cosmic reset. And now, in the days following it, you are walking into a world that may look familiar on the surface, yet is vibrating with new undercurrents. And here's the part most will miss. The first evidence of this shift doesn't come through the skies or through dreams or through headlines. It shows itself through the people closest to you. The conversations, the silences, the hesitations, the sudden bursts of emotion. They are carrying messages coded directly for you. Now, before we go deeper, let me ask you this. Have you noticed lately that someone close to you, maybe a partner, a sibling, a parent, or even a close friend, has behaved in a way that felt different? Maybe their tone had an edge you weren't used to. Maybe their smile felt heavier than usual. Maybe they grew distant without explanation. At first, you might have brushed it off as moodiness, stress, or coincidence. But chosen ones, I tell you this, nothing is coincidence after the equinox. This is not about paranoia. It's about perception, and perception is your superpower in this season. When the equinox arrives, it opens what the ancients called a portal of balance. Light and dark stand on equal ground. Day and night meet in stillness. But that balance does not remain in the sky. It ripples downward into relationships, into routines, into the tiny structures of daily life. And what cannot hold that balance begins to show cracks. Think about it like this. Imagine a mirror that has been carrying faint fractures for years. But under dim light, you barely notice them. Now, suddenly, a bright light floods the room. Those fractures are revealed with sharp clarity. They were always there, but only now are they undeniable. That's what's happening in your relationships right now. The light of this new frequency is revealing the fractures and also the hidden strengths you never fully saw before. Let me tell you a story. Not long ago, a woman wrote to me after the March equinox. She said that for weeks she had been sensing something was off in her marriage. Nothing dramatic. Her husband still came home on time, still helped with the kids, still smiled when they sat down to dinner. But she noticed that when she spoke about her dreams, he fell silent. When she mentioned her excitement about pursuing a new course, his eyes seemed to cloud. At first, she dismissed it. He's tired from work, she told herself. But after the equinox, that silence grew louder. She began to realize that his hesitation wasn't just about her plans. It was mirroring her own hidden doubt. She was afraid of outgrowing the life they had built, and his quietness was the exact mirror she needed to face her own fear. The point is this: chosen ones don't receive signs and neon lights. They receive them through whispers, through mirrors, through the subtle actions of those closest to them. And unless you are awake to it, you will miss the very signs that are meant to guide you. So here's what you must understand. After the equinox, the universe rarely shouts, it whispers. And those whispers come first through familiar voices. If you dismiss the unusual behaviors of loved ones as random, you'll miss the messages meant for your growth. Notice the hesitation in a partner's tone. Notice the sudden criticism from a sibling. Notice the unexpected kindness of a stranger. Each one is a vibration, a coded message. And when you see them not as accidents, but as alignments, you step into the deeper reality of this season. Now, let's pause here for a moment. I want you to play a little game with me because this is how the universe works. Think right now of the last 3 unusual interactions you've had. Maybe it was a friend canceling plans without explanation. Maybe it was a family member snapping at you unexpectedly. Maybe it was a stranger offering a word that struck your heart. Hold those in your mind. Now ask yourself, what are those interactions reflecting back to me? What fear, what strength, what truth are they pointing toward inside me? That's the puzzle the universe is giving you after the equinox, and only those willing to piece it together will unlock the meaning. Some of you may have already noticed patterns of conflict rising, arguments that seem to spark out of nowhere, misunderstandings that escalate faster than they should. Don't dismiss these as bad luck. Don't chalk them up to stress or coincidence. These are checkpoints, energetic tests designed to show you exactly where shadow still hides within you. Each disagreement is a mirror. Do you react with defensiveness? Or do you choose patience? Do you judge harshly? Or do you choose compassion? Do you spiral into confusion? Or do you choose clarity? Others among you may notice the opposite. People you never expected are stepping forward as guides, helpers, or catalysts. A casual conversation with a coworker may suddenly shift your entire perspective. A stranger's kindness may awaken something in your spirit. Do not underestimate these small moments. After the equinox, divine alignment often comes not from grand teachers on mountaintops, but from ordinary souls woven into your everyday life. This is why, chosen ones, you cannot afford to ignore these signs. They are not random. They are not meaningless. They are the compass. But here's the truth. The compass will not work if you panic, if you cling, if you resist. Some relationships will show cracks not because they are ending, but because they are stretching into new forms. Others may fade quietly, leaving space for new connections that vibrate with your next level. This is not punishment. It is preparation. The universe is asking you, will you release what no longer resonates? Will you open to what is arriving? Now, I know what some of you may be thinking. Why does it have to be the people closest to me? Why couldn't the universe just send me a dream or a sign in the sky? Because the universe is precise. It knows that the greatest lessons do not come from strangers. They come from those who hold the deepest access to your heart. Your partner's silence, your sibling's criticism, your friend's absence. These are not betrayals. They are initiations. They reveal where your ego still reacts, where your heart still clings, where your spirit is being asked to grow stronger. And if you can embrace this perspective, the uncomfortable moments become empowering. They stop being walls and start becoming doorways. Each sign becomes a key. And those who learn to read this language of energy in the people closest to them will move forward far faster than those who remain blind. Let me give you another story. A man I spoke with after a past equinox told me that his teenage son suddenly grew distant. At first, he panicked thinking he had failed as a father. But when he stopped reacting and started observing, he realized something important. His son's distance wasn't rejection. It was a reflection of his own pattern of withdrawal when he felt vulnerable. By seeing this, the father began to face his own avoidance of intimacy. That shift didn't just heal him, it healed his relationship with his son. This is how the equinox works. The signs are not punishments. They are precise alignments, sculpting your soul into its next form. Chosen ones, remember this. The universe does not send its first message through strangers. It sends it through those who know you best. Their actions, whether kind or cutting, are symbols written on the page of your destiny. The question is, will you read them? Think of each interaction as a sacred test. If someone withdraws, it teaches you not to cling. If someone criticizes, it asks you to stand firm in your truth. If someone supports you, it reminds you that help often arrives when you least expect it. None of this is coincidence. It is the universe arranging your soul's growth with divine precision. So, what is being asked of you now? 3 things: presence, courage, trust. Presence to notice the subtle signs. Courage to face what they reveal. Trust to know that even when relationships feel uncertain, the energy behind them is purposeful. Trust that the cracking of old structures is not the end, but the beginning of a higher alignment. Trust that you are not losing, but making space. Trust that the signs are not here to frighten you, but to awaken you. I want to emphasize this again, because it is the heartbeat of this moment. The sacred is not shouting from the sky. It is whispering through the ordinary, through the hesitation in a loved one's voice, through the heaviness in a friend's smile, through the silence of a parent's advice. The sacred is speaking through the ordinary, and the ordinary is carrying the extraordinary. That's why the chosen ones are often misunderstood. The world looks only at the surface. Words, gestures, appearances. But you are being trained to read the energy beneath. What feels small to others may feel immense to you. A single phrase, a glance, a shift in mood can shake your inner compass because you know it carries a message written for your soul alone. And yes, this sensitivity can feel heavy. It can feel overwhelming. But hear me clearly, sensitivity is not weakness. Sensitivity is the refinement of perception. And in this season, sensitivity is your superpower. If you sense dishonesty in someone's words, honor that feeling. If you feel inspired by someone's presence, let it guide you. The universe is not confusing you. It is confirming you. But with this heightened awareness comes heightened responsibility. When you see the patterns, you cannot pretend you don't. Ignoring the signs will only make the lessons louder, harsher, and more undeniable. That is why chosen ones often face challenges earlier and more intensely than others. You are meant to notice first, to respond first, to grow before the rest of the collective is ready. Now, here lies the paradox. Sometimes the signs will appear as blessings, sometimes as burdens. But in truth, they are both. A harsh word may awaken courage. A moment of rejection may open the door to true belonging. A sudden ending may prepare the ground for a greater beginning. The chosen ones are not here to avoid these experiences. You are here to transmute them, to turn shadow into light, friction into wisdom, loss into liberation. So, when you ask yourself, why is this happening? Why now? Why then? Remember, every sign is purposeful. Every interaction is aligned. The equinox was the cosmic reset. What you are witnessing now is the human reflection of that reset. And so I ask you this, chosen ones, will you see clearly or will you fall back into old blindness? Will you respond with wisdom or let fear dictate your choices? The answers to these questions will shape not only your path, but the energy you ripple into the collective. The equinox has arrived as a mirror and as a teacher. It is asking you to look closer, listen deeper, trust more boldly than before. For those awake enough to notice, this season is not just a date in time. It is a doorway. And the key to opening it is hidden not in the stars above, but in the subtle signs carried by the people who walk beside you each day. Let me leave you with this. Every doorway has its guardians. And the guardians of this threshold are not monks in distant temples or teachers in sacred texts. They are the people right beside you, your family, your friends, your partners, your co-workers. Their gestures, their silences, their choices. What looks like a passing mood may actually be a coded message. What feels like an ordinary conversation may be a turning point. The universe prefers to whisper, and it expects the chosen ones to be the ones who hear. So listen closely, watch carefully, notice the signs, and when you do, remember this. The shift is not only happening around you, it is happening through you, chosen ones. Your task is clear. Pay attention, trust the whispers, walk through the doorway, and share the light because the world is shifting and it needs you awake.